would like to welcome everyone present today and those watching the broadcast and call the December 6, 2016 special meeting to order, and all board members but one are present. I think
he's out in the hall.
He's on his way. So let's please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. All right, every 2 years we get to have this special meeting, and what a special meeting it is. So I'd like a motion to adopt today's special meeting agenda.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Hearing none. Cast your vote.
Right.
It is unanimous. Following this special meeting, there will be a reception for our newly elected board members and families and friends, and we invite all of you to join us. Thank you to our food service department, and Gary is here, for hosting our reception to honor the election and swearing in of our board of trustees. We will now conduct the swearing in of the elected board members and administer the oath of office. At this time, I'd like to ask Board Member John Lee Evans, Reverend George Walker Smith, Rabbi Lori Kosky to step up to the podium for the oath of office. And Dr. Evans' family is welcome to accompany him to the podium for the administration of the oath of office if they are here. And feel free to walk about and take photos.
All right, John.
Okay, let me just say something first. First, I want to comment on the two fine individuals I have here for the swearing-in ceremony. First is Reverend George Walker Smith, and I talked to him well before I ran for the school board, and I think he warned me about what I was getting into after having served himself on the board for 16 years, and I've certainly appreciated his advice and counsel through all the years that I have been on the board. And I also want to welcome Rabbi Lori Kosky. She has been a good friend and a welcome participant in San Unified School District. She has actually facilitated some of our group workshops in terms of finding ways for us as board members to work together, so it's very fitting that we have both of them here for the oath of office, as well as my daughter Melissa and my wife Terry. Reverend Smith.
Go ahead, Reverend Smith.
Thank you. Hello to all of you. Sitting back in the audience here, I can't believe it. For 16 years, I've marched down here to 150 plus meetings, and I enjoyed every moment of it. And this is my second time being down there for your swearing in.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to congratulate you. I wouldn't have come back the second time had you been a bad board member. But I merely like to say to the board members, this could be one of the finest things you can do for your community.
Thank you.
16 long years. And John, I guess I'll be coming back with
In 4 more years?
of running. But I am not going to swear him in, the rabbi is, but I just want to say a few words. Get yourselves involved outside of your own district, and get involved in the state educational system. as well as the national. I became president of the National School Board Association, 84,000 school board members across this nation, because of my involvement. I also work with the California School Board Association. There's no greater joy you could get than educating our youngsters. And to the parents of the youngsters, to you, the board guiding them, I say anytime I can be of help to you, let me know. Not that I'm looking for meetings, because I'm not. But it's a great joy and privilege to serve as a member of the San Diego Unified School Day. And Evans, I want you to continue to carry on. You too are going to serve 16 years.
I'll be very old.
So I say to all of you, congratulations. I say to the parents and to the audience, you have a fine group of men and women serving you, and treat them right, because politics in this nation is in a terrible shape. And the school board members who are going to square it away. Thanks a lot. I'm going to let the rabbi swear you in. John.
So sometimes there is greatness among us, and I believe that we did just hear a great San Diegan speak to us. Thank you. So I wish for you, my friend, and for your colleagues what Solomon asked for, and that was a listening, understanding heart. I think you bring that most of all your traits, John, to this work, and we benefit so much for it. The children, our district, your colleagues, and all of San Diego. So we thank you for bringing all of you, especially your Solomonic wisdom and your listening, understanding heart.
So does Solomon really mean to break the baby in half?
Well, that no, he really meant for the real mother to show her compassion. And she did. So he had that wisdom. He knew what that was, just like you do. So if you will, good sir, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, say your name.
I, John Lee Evans,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well
and that I will well
and faithfully
and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I am about to enter.
You are sworn in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Smith, Rabbi Koski, Dr. Evans, and family. I'd now like to ask Board Member Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne and Bishop George D. McKinney to step up to the podium for the oath of office. Dr. Whitehurst Payne's family is welcome to accompany her to the podium for the administration of the oath of office if they are here, and I believe we have. They are. And friends. Yeah. And again, please feel free to take photos and enjoy the moment.
Anybody want to join us? You may come on. Everybody's shy. Come on. I know you're here for me. Come on.
Yeah. It is cool. It is totally.
Of course I'm here. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you.
Swing around this way.
Jackie. Can you see this? Can you? Janice, no.
Dr. Payne, the clouds of witnesses that have gathered here testify to the effectiveness of your servant leadership. Yes. We appreciate you and all that you stand for. You are indeed a change agent and a pace setter, and we're here to say thank you. Congratulations upon being elected to serve on the board, and I offer my congratulations also to all of the members of the board. Thank you for the job that you do, and it is a real pleasure to hear the words of wisdom from my colleague, Dr. George Walker Smith, who served this community with great honor and dignity for many years. It is our privilege now, and I'm honored to have this privilege of issuing the oath of office to you. I would like for you, Sister Dr. Whitehurst Payne, to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne, do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations. We're proud of you. Thank you. Don't leave. We need a picture here together. Bishop Dixon, come and stand with me here.
And let's get Reverend Smith, let's go.
Reverend Green, join us.
I have you. 2 days in a row, I get to see you.
Stoop down.
Okay, yes, I can see.
You should have the little people in front. Those some big people. How's that?
Stand up. How's it feel? Can't leave you alone for a year.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Good to see you. You've done good. You've done good.
Probably your sister. Great job.
Supporting your old friends. Good to see you.
Thank you, Bishop McKinney, Dr. Whitehurst Payne, family and many friends. I would like to ask Board Member Richard Barrera, students Lillian Shallow from San Diego High, Mahale Shibre from Hoover High, Joel Castro from Wilson Middle, Marquez Gerling from McKinley Elementary to step up to the podium for the oath of office. And Mr. Barrera's family and friends are welcome to accompany him to the podium for the administration of the oath and office if they are here. So please join us in this
Do we use this
moment,
one?
celebration.
What do we use? Wait, oh yeah.
Hope you're friends.
I hope it's okay that before we start I say a few words about Richard Barrera. We've known each other for a while now, and I think that a character trait that is really valuable in someone who holds public office is accessibility. And that's something that you embody wholeheartedly. I mean, if someone needs help or has a question or needs to be challenged in some way, you're always there. I know you were for me countless times. I know recently for the Save San Diego High movement, without your leadership, I don't know where we would be. So thank you so much. And I know it means a lot to me personally and to these other people standing up here and to all the kids throughout the school district who know that they have a representative who cares about them and who's willing to stick their neck out for them. So thank you.
Thanks, Maria.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Richard Barrera,
I, Richard Barrera,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies,
foreign
and domestic.
That I will bear
true faith and
allegiance
to
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
that I will take this obligation freely
that I will take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will
and that I will
well and faithfully discharge
well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
We're the family. Hug us.
How do I do with this? Oh, thanks.
Why don't you come down and just like yeah, come down because your butt's.
Thank you.
So Trustee Evans and Trustee Barrera were first elected in 2008. So we've got going on 3 years. That'll be a total of 3, 9, 12-year term. So great tradition. They brought the district through some tough economic times, moved us into the Vision 2020, and now we're on our way to implementing and manifesting the vision that they helped create when they first came on. So I want to thank everyone for being here and acknowledging this moment. So thank you, Trustee Barrera. Thank you. Your family, friends. Do we have any requests for public testimony regarding the swearing in of the board members? All been done. So in that case, thank you. I'd like to invite the board members to make any comments at this time, beginning to my left. Trustee Whitehurst-Payne.
I just want to say thank you to all of you who supported me. I think the vote count, the last time I checked, was 171,000 citizens. And first, my fellow board members selected me to fill in the remaining seat. And I needed to go to the general public, the city of San Diego, and you have resoundingly noted that you would like for me to continue the next 4 years, and I say thank you to each and every one of you. And then for everyone here today, the list is long. You could see all the various people we have here, all the way from Cal State U San Marcos, Jackie Thousand, who lives downtown, and to my family members, my Lunch Bunch neighborhood, Rotarians, churches, my church, St. Paul's, St. Stephen's, City of Hope. I mean, just on and on and on. I could name names and individuals, my hairstylist, my manicures, on and on and on and on and on. To Frank Jordan, who played a critical role in my life, and the list is long. So Bill back there, who didn't want to stand, but he did that first videotape on the 4th of July. And I just say thank you to each of you, because I couldn't do it without you. And ultimately, I thank my husband, my family members, and my parents, because without them, I would not be here today. And I give thanks to my Savior, and acknowledge all of you who acknowledge that there is a higher being, and that we exist on this earth to do good. And that's my goal, to do good, and then to work on behalf of all of the children here in San Diego, not just one group, but to every child in this city. I purpose that I will work on your behalf. And so I say thank you for taking the time to come. I know the parking is not the easiest here, but you persevered, and love you all, and thank you very much.
Dr. Evans?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to, I'm happy that Richard Barrera and I have been reelected, but I'm actually most happy in this election that Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne has been added to our board. She has been a real addition during this year. I just want to comment for a minute. On December 1st, 2008, I wrote down the core values of a new school board member. And these are values, so they're not particular goals and metrics, but they're just as true today in 2008, and maybe even more so given the national climate right now. First of all, that we are the trustees elected to safeguard the education of all the children of San Diego, and that we are representatives of the people, not part of the bureaucracy. And I think this is a constant challenge as you get more involved in a district to make sure that we really are the representatives of the people. The next one, the most important, that the public school system must create a level playing field for all of our children as the primary place for creating equal opportunity in our society. And I do believe that we have made progress in this area. We have a long ways to go, but we still have made progress in terms of graduation rates, test scores, and having a broad and challenging curriculum. That the goal of education is not only to create a prepared workforce, but citizens who are critical thinkers, socially responsible, and innovative, not just robotic learners. And I think that the nation is actually catching up with this in terms of this value, in terms of the Common Core, and the focus on critical and creative thinking. That the public schools belong to all of us. That we're all stakeholders, parents, students, teachers, school employees, the business community, the labor community, seniors, the entire San Diego community. The solutions lie within our diverse communities. That our school system should model the democracy in which we want our children to live. That we will arrive at having the best schools by having democratic participation in their improvement. That parents and teachers and others close to the classroom can provide the best ideas on how to succeed. We do not believe in top-down management. I know there are constant challenges here in terms of making changes and reforms, both from the top and from the bottom. Sometimes we're resistant to change, but we need to have everybody participating with an equal voice. That to improve our system, we must be open and transparent, making meetings and deliberations available and accessible to all in terms of time, location, and meeting style. That budgeting must be an open process because it is a manifestation of our priorities. One of the first things we did when we came on the board was at first to change the meeting time so that more people could attend. I think we've had probably more community meetings over these last years than had happened many years before. That we must not discard what is already working as we seek ways to raise achievement levels for all students, close the achievement gap, and lower the dropout rate. That we will do all of this by providing reasons for students to stay in school, including career technical programs that prepare students for the world of work and lifelong learning. And one of the things we said was we don't want to just graduate more students, which we do, but we want to make that graduation meaningful, and we are closing the achievement gap. Again, we still have a long ways to go. That the teacher is the heart of the system and the key to student success and must be afforded the corresponding respect and support, and that every employee of the district should be treated with dignity and respect, from the superintendent to the classroom teacher, from the principal to the custodial staff. And that we need to have the full participation of parents as partners with a voice in the schools. That we need to have more fathers directly involved in the education of our children, and that we should look to the entire community, including seniors, for mentors and tutors. And finally, that we need to update our schools and our curriculum for 21st century delivery of instruction and services. That we must equip our students to navigate through an explosion of information in preparation for competing in the global economy. And San Diego is certainly a national leader in terms of technology and information in the classroom. So at this point in time in 2016, we did not expect to be at this particular junction, but we have a very big responsibility in San Diego to prove to the nation that public schools can work and be successful. We have people coming to the top who believe that education, public education, should be privatized, that our public schools are a failure, and we need to present an example of what we are doing with teachers, students, parents, and administration all working together. So I look forward to working with everybody these next 4 years. I think in looking back over these 8 years on the school board, the first 4 to 5 years we were in survival mode as we had cuts after cuts after cuts, and our whole point was to be as creative as we could to keep the ship afloat to a better time. I think in the last 3 years we have began to map out a plan, a strategy, and the real implementation of the strategy, putting the structures in place that are going to allow us to succeed. I really do believe in the next 4 years between 2016 and 2020 that we're going to see a big acceleration in the gains that we've made in the last few years, and I look forward to working with you on all of this. Thank you.
Dr. Evans. Vice President Trustee Brewer.
Thank you, President McQuarrie. It's an honor to be sworn in tonight with two committed public servants, Dr. Sharon Whitehurst Payne and Dr. John Lee Evans. And it's an honor to continue to serve with two other committed public servants, Trustee Kevin Beiser and Trustee Dr. Mike McQuarrie, and to, of course, serve with Superintendent Cindy Martin. I completely agree with the sentiments that both Sharon and John just expressed, and John's kind of breaking down the last 8 years. Seemed like the first term was about survival and the second term was about preparing ourselves to thrive as a public school system. I think that what we need to think about going forward in the next 4 years is we need to come together as an entire community, as we have done, as we continue to do in the development of our Vision 2020, and we need to develop a Vision 2030. And just as we talked about in 2008, Vision 2020 was what kind of school system are we going to have when our kindergarteners are ready to go into 12th grade and graduate from our school system. So I think if we think the same way about our youngest students today, what kind of school system are they going to grow up in over the next 12 years? And I think at the core of what we need to work together to develop in a Vision 2030 is to confidently and with a sense of urgency build from the strength that we have as a successful public school system to really help our students and our families tackle the issues that exist outside of the school system. We've talked, and Dr. Evans alluded to this today, of the public school system as the most important institution in a democracy because the public school system allows young people, regardless of the circumstances that they enter our schools with, to thrive and to go forward and to pursue dreams and to make our society better. I have to reflect, at a moment like this, as I did 4 years ago and 8 years ago, about my own family's story. My grandparents on my mom's side came to this country from Europe through Ellis Island, had nothing, started with a dream and a willingness to work hard, and it was a public school system that allowed my grandparents and then my mom and her family to be able to not only succeed in this country, but to contribute and to be, as Cindy talks about, to be active contributors in a democratic society. My dad grew up in a small city in the rainforest in Colombia, was the first person in his family to leave that community to go to university. Went to university in Cartagena, became a lawyer and a judge in his late 20s. But then, in order to pursue a brighter future for his family, he and my mom moved to the United States, moved to Los Angeles. My dad didn't speak English. He couldn't practice law in this country. He had to start from scratch. And it was the public school system. Both my parents became teachers, and it was the public school system that created an opportunity for me and for my brothers to become active contributors in our democratic society. My wife and I have raised 2 sons, both products of San Diego Unified. One is now has his bachelor's and master's degree from Stanford University and is gainfully employed, which is fantastic, and working in a community-based organization that's doing, I think, fantastic things up in the Bay Area. And my younger son is now a freshman at Harvard University, and both were extremely well prepared by the San Diego Unified School System to succeed in college and to thrive. And my younger son is already volunteering in schools, and I think may well be on a track to become a teacher, although he would never admit that. I think it's a likelihood. But that's my family's story. But that's all of our family's story. All of us. Our families have come from someplace, come to this country with nothing but struggle, but a willingness to struggle and an ability to succeed in struggle because of this amazing democratic concept called public education. And we are making tremendous strides in our school system here under Cindy's leadership. And I do agree with John that over the next 4 years, I think the academic outcomes that we're going to see for kids in San Diego Unified are going to explode. We're going to see incredible success rates for kids in our school system because of the infrastructure that's being laid right now through Cindy and our leadership team. But it's from that position of strength, from the most important institution in our democracy, where we are succeeding, where we are supporting young people and allowing them, regardless of the circumstances with which they enter our schools, to succeed. It's from that position of strength that we create together as a united community, that we have to, it is our responsibility to go outside our schools' boundaries and to confront the circumstances that our kids enter our schools with. And we're going to talk tonight about a resolution to affirm our basic values and to commit ourselves to support and protect our students during a period of fear and anxiety. But beyond that, we know that today in San Diego County, 4 out of 10 people in our county live in families that are unable to make ends meet, unable to pay their housing, to pay for their basic putting food on the table, transportation, childcare, healthcare. 4 out of 10 San Diegans are in households that are unable to make ends meet. We know that 2/3 of the students in our district qualify for the free and reduced lunch program, essentially meaning 2/3 of the students in our district live under the federal poverty line. We can't simply, and it's certainly been a core of Vision 2020 that schools are the center of community, but we can't simply be a haven, be a sanctuary for young people who come into our schools, in some cases, to get away from the circumstances that they and their family live in. We had a meeting at the San Diego City Council the other day when we were talking about the issue of racial profiling in the police department, and a student from Lincoln High School stood up and did a fantastic job. We all would have been proud of this student exercising his leadership, but what he said was, the neighborhood I come from is very challenging, and I'm a student at Lincoln High School, and when I leave school, I face the challenges of growing up in my neighborhood. We've got great neighborhoods in this city. We've got great community leaders that work with us every day, but our students and families continue to face challenges that get in the way of people being able to pursue their dreams and contribute to society. We have named those challenges explicitly in this hall. They're challenges of racism, they're challenges of economic inequality, they're challenges of bigotry, they're challenges that come from a society that often creates every obstacle imaginable to young people to succeed and to make this country great. And it's our job and it's our responsibility as a strong, unified public education system that achieves great outcomes for young people to lock our hands together and go outside of the boundaries of our schools and enter into partnership with our community to make our communities thrive so that we all are working to create a future that's worthy of our young people. So I ask everybody here, I ask everybody who cares about our public system, our public school system, to come together over this next year and let's create a Vision 2030 that's about great schools in every neighborhood, and that's about great neighborhoods that are worthy of our young people. Thank you.
Mr. Advisor? Yep. Anything? Yeah?
Congratulations.
Oh, terrific. Well, we are a full team, and we're ready to begin. As in the NBA, I think our N stands for neighborhood, our B stands for board. We are your neighborhood board. And just like any good team on the court, it takes more than just the players to win the game. In this situation, the game is very serious and very, very important. It takes depth. It takes the folks on the bench, the depth of the bench, people who are there to stand up when needed, when necessary, who are able to do the work. And that's the members of our community, our business partners, and our associations. We need to work together as a community. And as members of this board, we are ready to play the game, play it well. We are professional, highly skilled. We've all been here before. We're ready to work with you, do the best we can to have the quality schools in every neighborhood that our children deserve. So, thank you. So, I'd like to invite all of you to join the board members for a reception in the lobby area directly outside of the auditorium. And for
2 minutes.
For a 2-minute reception. And our regular meeting will begin at 5 o'clock sharp.
Approximately.
Thank you.